Confidence isn't what you think it is. Welcome to the Self-Concept Bestie podcast. I'm your host, Laura. I used to think that confidence was about being attractive, outgoing, successful, or having everyone like you. But some of the most insecure seasons in my life were the times where I looked most confident externally. Now, confidence to me is self-trust. It's knowing that I won't abandon myself anymore. People look at confidence, that the loudest person in the room, the person who's getting all the attention. Oh, they must be so confident. I would love to be as confident as them. Oh, look how many followers they've got. Look how confident they are showing up on social media. But actually, do you ever really sit and look at these people and think, is that the mask? And I think I can see it more clearly now because it used to be me. I used to think that, that was what confidence was. Being the loudest person in the room, being outgoing and outspoken, getting that validation from other people or, the likes on social media. That's what we all think confidence is. And when we look up to these people, we see it as, I want to be that confident. But actually, underneath it all, it actually isn't confidence. Majority of the time, it's weakness, dressed up as the mask of confidence. It's not true confidence. A lot of people, they don't have actual confidence. They have performance. Some people are confident in rooms, but really insecure in that solitude. You know how many people will have posted on that social media confident and then posted it and kept on checking how many views it's got, how many likes it's got, second guessing if they were good enough. Should they have done more? When they've went out on a date, they're coming in, they're nitpicking every part of the interaction. Was I too much? Was I too loud? Was I this? Actually, that's an insecurity. It's not confidence. On the surface, it looks confident, but actually underneath it's the insecurity. So what actually is confidence? Because I feel like this is something that I don't actually speak about enough. And mainly because I've always seen myself as a confident person, but as I've grown, as I've evolved, that confidence has become something different. And it's only been really recently that I've noticed the shift in me from what confidence used to look like for me to what it actually looks like now. Because confidence is building that trust within yourself. It's actually being able to see you and really know who you are. It's about knowing that you're going to survive any disappointment because you're not needing validation from other people to feel whole. It's about having self-respect for yourself. It's about actually when you tell yourself you're going to do something, you do it. You follow through. You put boundaries in for yourself. You look at your life and you're like, right, what am I needing to do? Or what don't I want to do? And you follow through. We're not doing it to people please or get validation or getting people to like us. It's quiet. It's knowing that you're going to survive all of that disappointment. It's creating that emotional safety within yourself. And the biggest shift for me, being okay not being for everyone. No, being okay that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. And actually, I don't want to be. And that's been one big thing I've realised recently. I used to always say that I was like a chameleon. I could fit in anywhere. And I think it's just because I'm very good at reading people and very good at reading situations and having good conversations. However, sometimes that didn't then bring out my true authentic side, because I would maybe dim what I actually wanted to say because it didn't fit the needs of that room or what I think people wanted to hear. So when I started bridging into showing up as me and trusting actually who I was deep down at the core, I started to actually question, what happens when I don't fit in? What happens when I'm not for everyone? And that was something I really had to look at. That was loud sometimes, because I'd built confidence on being accepted and being liked, on almost probably being a people pleaser at times, dimming my own needs to suit other people. So when you quietly start putting you first, oh my goodness, I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. Oh, I don't know if it's going to... Oh, God. Oh, well, this is the real live podcast. I don't know what it is. Sorry, where was I? So anyway, when you start actually really choosing you and saying no when you don't want to do something and following through on the actions for you by setting yourself a goal and actually achieving it, even if it's small, I started to realise that it's okay that I'm not for everyone. And actually, then I realised I don't want to be for everyone. Actually, that being for everyone was very surface level. And when I look back with that mask, kind of surface level fake. How many girls, any girls that are listening, will be like, met something like, oh my God, hi, how are you? You're looking amazing. But deep down, you can just feel that fakeness, the falseness in it. I just couldn't do that anymore. I just would rather stay quiet. And that's what actually I noticed. I got quieter, a lot quieter. Sometimes I actually don't say anything because there is no need for me to prove my worthiness to anyone, prove my worth to anyone, prove my confidence to anyone. Because all that matters is what I know and how I show up. So when you stop chasing that clarity from other people, that's when you start becoming clear within yourself. Sorry for sniffing. I really thought that sneeze was going to come back there, but I think it's away, so we're safe. We're safe. We move on. So what can secretly destroy people's confidence? Because I think this is probably the part that maybe isn't talked about enough. So when you think about you're confident, you're ready, you're trusting yourself, but you start people pleasing again. You start over explaining, or you're constantly seeking that reassurance. You're destroying all parts of your confidence, because what you're telling your brain, your nervous system, is that I am only okay when other people validate me, when I am pleasing other people. When I know I don't want to do something, but I'm going to do it anyway because it'll make that person feel okay. Well, actually, you're destroying and betraying your own intuition in that. When you start comparing yourself to people online as well. How many times you'll be scrolling, you'll be like, oh my God, I've got a great life. Her body's amazing. oh my God, they go to the gym all the time. Like, how do they do that? But actually, when you really take a step back, you don't know what's going on behind that with that person. Social media is great on the surface, but you don't know what that person's going through. They could be posting that and then lying in their bed depressed. You don't know that, but people have this persona online, and we can put so much high standards on. I need to be like that, I want to be like that, and actually forget to look at within ourselves and what we already have, because naturally you might be more confident than that person on social media. You just don't know it. And see, when you're actually inconsistent with yourself, you teach yourself that your needs don't matter. That confidence then gets dimmed. It gets lower because you start putting everybody else above you, and you start to quiet and you start to dim. And you start tolerating little breadcrumbs, because then actually when people are validating you, that means that I'm okay. And you start outsourcing your worth in relationships, because if they accept me, then that means that I'm okay. Whereas the confidence, when you've got a foundational layer of confidence and know who you are and believe in who you are, the things don't shake you. You don't need somebody else to validate your worth. You don't need somebody else to choose you, that you're to know that you're worthy of being chosen, or that you're worthy of somebody showing up for you. You stop comparing yourself. Comparison is the thief of joy. Whoever said that quote, genius, because it is. We never know what else is going on, but we constantly compare ourselves to other people, when actually we should be looking within ourselves. Look at our own greatness, look at our own qualities, and striving to make them better and stronger. And instead of showing up for validation online, start showing up for ourselves. Start following through on what we said we were going to do, and start building that confidence up within ourselves, because every time that you ignore your own needs to keep someone comfortable, your confidence weakens. The version of you that's chasing that validation will never feel fully safe. So, as I've touched on about that, trust in yourself. But if you're sitting listening right now and being like, well, how, Laura? How? How do I build this confidence within myself? And it's actually easier than what we think. But it's whether or not you're willing to show up for you. Because by keeping every promise to yourself, what you do is you prove to yourself that resiliency muscle in your brain, that confidence within you, that I follow through. I say what I'm going to do. For instance, like myself, every Wednesday I record my podcast. That's it, every single Wednesday. Even on the Wednesdays where I don't feel like it, I will sit here and I will pull this mic out and I will record, because I'm keeping that promise to myself. Because I show up for myself. Then goes into discipline. So it's having that discipline that even when we don't feel like it, we do what we say we were going to do. And it doesn't need to be massive, big goals. I think this is where people can complicate things. It's small goals. For instance, instead of having a list of 10 things to get done today, give yourself 2 things that need done. Right, I'm going to empty the dishwasher and I'm going to hoover. I need to go to that shop to get that birthday card. Right, so you do that. If you get the 2 things done, there we go. You've been disciplined enough to get it done, because when you've got this massive list and you're looking at it and you're feeling overwhelmed, guess what happens? None of it gets done. And you're proving to yourself that you don't show up for yourself, which then you're weakening that confidence. You don't need to be disciplined as in I'm going to go and start running a marathon and I need to start training. It's in small, tiny moments, and that's where I think it gets confused. We see people online with these massive goals, massive ambitions, which is great. Have goals, have ambitions. I'm here for it. also when you're just starting off, the foundation of trusting yourself is keeping the promises to yourself and having that discipline. Also, being able to have the hard conversations, being able to sit in a room and people are they're maybe talking about a subject and you maybe don't agree with it. Maybe you've got a different opinion, a different perspective on that. Being able to confidently say what you think without it needing to be in any conflict. Being able to say, I hear what you're saying, I see it a bit differently. That. Because disagreeing or having a different perspective doesn't need to be conflict. It can just be, I see what you're saying, but I just see it a bit differently. And that's okay. We're two different people. I'm actually at the stage in my life now where if somebody was to tell me, Laura, the sky is green, I would say, you know what, you're right. Yep, that's green. And I would move on with my day. Because I don't need to over-explain why that sky is blue. If they cannot see that that sky is blue, why am I going to waste my energy explaining it? Explain it to somebody who will never, ever be able to see that the sky is blue. All they can see is it's green. So it's about learning to just trust and embody yourself and knowing that you don't need to prove you're right to be right. You can just have that knowing. Your worth doesn't depend on somebody else accepting you. You let people be wrong. Let yourself be wrong. There's plenty of times where I've been wrong about something and I'm happily be able to say, do you know what? Oh my God, you're right. I totally got that wrong. It's actually being able to have that confidence to be able to say, take that accountability. Say, you know what, yeah, Dad, I got it wrong actually. Well, how did you do it? How did you figure that out? And get curious. It's how we learn. It's how we expand our minds. It's how we build up this confidence within ourselves by learning, by not just believing that we're the right ones all the time. Also, taking that action even when we feel scared. When I first went to ever do a podcast, I went on a podcast course on, it was October 2024, and I did not publish my first podcast until October 2025. Because guess what? I was scared. I was scared to put my voice out there. Because what could that have came with? It could have came with judgment. It could have came with people not accepting me, people not agreeing with me. So I had to really work on that. It took me a whole year. But even when I was scared, you know what? One day I was like, no, I'm doing it. And I showed up. And I've showed up every single week since because I've made that promise to myself. And now what happens is I don't feel scared to publish these podcasts. I'm not scared of people's opinions or people's judgments because I'm rooted in who I am. And I understand that not everybody will agree. Not everybody will understand what I'm saying or want to even look at mindset shifts or how their subconscious mind runs their life. People don't want to sometimes learn about that because they're happy with the hamster wheel that they're on, and that's okay. But I'm here for the people who are saying to themselves, there has to be more than this. How do I get there? Because when we start actually doing things, even when we're scared, we start creating without perfection and we just start creating from authenticity. We start actually just believing in what we're doing and we're that deeply rooted in ourselves that, again, I don't need validation from somebody. I'm not looking at my podcast listener stats every week thinking, oh, well, that one got 10 less listeners than that one. What was the difference? Because you know what? I'm showing up as me. So I'm not going to overanalyze the stats or the listener numbers. Because if I start tweaking things to be more relatable or more palatable to other people, then I'm not showing up as me. It's the whole thing with social media. And honestly, one of the things that I'd probably, I'm not struggling with, but one of the things I'm a bit kind of fed up with is the whole algorithm thing. And you see, you know, oh, viral hook and blah, blah, blah. And I'll look at it and I'm like, but if I need to go and get a script for people to buy into who I am, then I'm not being me. I want to show up as me authentically, and I'm either for you or I'm not. And I'm actually now really okay with that. Yeah, I might not have 10,000 followers, but actually the ones that I do have are there. And that's more for me what it's about. It's a lot of people nowadays are where we look at, right, wait, let me get this right. We look at quantity over quality, whereas I'm more a great believer in quality over quantity. Because you could have 10,000 followers and not one of them can relate to you. Or you could have 200 and every single one of them relate to you. What's going to give you more impact? Especially if you're somewhere that you are actually wanting to create, that you're wanting to help people, that you're following in that purpose. I seen, it wasn't a quote, it was somebody had asked, it was an older woman had asked somebody, what would you do with your life if nobody knew? If nobody could see it? What would you do with your life? And it really made me think, what would I do with my life? And I thought, I would still show up on this podcast even if no one was listening. Because this is time for me. It's time for me to speak my voice. Whether there's 2 people listening or whether there's 2,000 people listening. How would you show up? And I realised I was driving the other day. Excuse me. I was driving the other day and I seen there was a woman walking and she was really struggling. So I stopped the car and I asked her if she wanted a lift. She was like, I'm just going for the bus. So, and then she was going to get a bus to get another bus to another town. And I wasn't doing anything. I said, you know what, I'll just take you along. It's only 10 minutes along in the car. But I would have probably been about half an hour in the bus, not including that she had to get another bus to the bus station. Anyway, and I took her along. She was so grateful. We had a great chat. She told me about when her husband passed away and how her niece and nephew do loads for her and how she was going to buy herself a watch. And, I never once had any urge to actually, one, tell anybody that I'd done that, or two, post it on social media, because actually I was just doing something that I felt was right at the time. Instinctively seen her struggling, stopped and asked her if she needed help, and it actually transpired she'd had a bad fall and needed stitches at the exact place where I picked her up. And that's why she was so nervous on her feet, because she wasn't too sure about the steps because she'd had such a bad fall before. So I think when you can quietly show up for yourself and other people, you're not actually searching for, well, I must tell people about this. Here, I'm telling you about it now. But I'm not, you actually are just showing up you're just showing up for you quietly. And that's where that confidence is, because I at no point was looking for validation from anybody to tell me I was a great person. I already know that. And I didn't do that to get any sort of praise. I didn't do it, to prove to anybody I'm a good person. I just done it because it was the right thing to do. And nobody really needed to know about it. So that confidence, getting back, sorry, I am digressing. That confidence is built in the moments that nobody is there to clap for. The goal isn't to become unshakable. The goal is to return to yourself quicker and be able to just know who you are, even when people maybe want to judge you, even when people maybe want to challenge you on your outlook. But it's being able to stay deeply rooted in who you are. So then what actually starts happening in your life when you've built up this confidence? Because for me, that's one thing I've noticed massively. It's I no longer want to force anything. I don't want to force clarity from anybody because I just get the clarity from myself. Okay, does this feel good for me? Do I enjoy this? Am I doing this out of fear or am I doing it out of growth? Am I doing it for me or am I doing it for someone else? Simple questions I ask myself. Naturally, and now as well, I've got more creativity. I want to just post on social media because it feels good. I want to just pick up and record my podcast. I want to record some meditations. I just want to have a life that's light and fun. And yeah, I can have a good deep chat, but I can also laugh until I'm crying and have a great bit of banter. It gives you that freedom as well to just be you, but not in a bad way. It's, as I've said, I don't need to prove my confidence to anybody. So I'm not out there saying, I'm not loud and being cocky and I'm this, I'm that. No, I just internally know that. I don't need to tell anybody that. I just need to know my own value. That's it. And then, guess what happens? Your inner peace is there and it replaces the chaos. The chaos of life. Life starts slowing down naturally. Because internally, one, you show up for yourself. And two, you've got that resiliency that you can handle things. Like even if disappointment comes your way, you can handle it. No problem. You start attracting healthier dynamics as well into your life, whether that be in a relationship, friendship, even family, can start to show up differently. Because internally you've shifted how you see yourself. And then naturally you've got less anxiety around texting and dating and showing up as you. Because you're confident in who you are. And you're okay being misunderstood now. It's okay that somebody might not fully understand you. That's all right. There's actually some beauty in that. There's some beauty in being a wee bit misunderstood. And not having to prove your worth, not having to make people understand this. Again, it goes back to that sky. They might never understand that the sky is blue. They might only ever see it as green, and that is okay. Let them believe it's green. Just, why are you going to ruin your peace? For anybody, just to prove something to somebody. And you don't emotionally react as much either because you're really rooted in who you are. And somebody maybe says something disrespectful or doesn't maybe treat you the right way. For me, I more see it as, as a flaw in their character, not a flaw in mine. It's not a reflection on me, that's a flaw in their character. Confidence starts to make your life quieter internally. Sorry, my voice has been going today. Anyway, we're really near the end. So I just want to leave you with this. Maybe confidence isn't becoming louder. Maybe it's finally feeling safe enough to be fully yourself. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, today has already been an amazing day.